Hello everybody, welcome back. I hope you're doing great. So today we finally have another movie review. This time it's a movie, it's not a series. Now the last one I did was Sweet Home Season 3, which came out not too long ago. But this time we have a movie. I am back into watching this stuff on Netflix, and honestly I am contemplating in getting Disney Plus as well, because so many things are coming that look very good there, and the poster look amazing as well. So it's catching my eye with everything that I have been seeing about these Korean dramas and series coming on Disney Plus. I'm considering it. It's not official, but it's definitely on my plans to get, because a lot of those things look very good. But for now we have another Netflix movie, and it is called Uglies. It was released on Netflix on September 13th of 2024, so this year. It is less than 2 hours long, honestly. A lot happens, but at the same time it doesn't feel like a lot happens, but it keeps you there, it keeps you entertained. Honestly, I wanted to watch it because honestly, one, I read the synopsis on it on Netflix and it sounded interesting. Let's go with that. And two, a lot of people were not talking the greatest about this movie, and we will talk about it at the end. I was like, between that and what I'm seeing in the synopsis in Netflix, I want to watch this. So I did. I have opinions about it, okay? So I'm gonna go through the what this is about, but before going there, there's a few things, or at least a few things that I have to take out of the way before talking about the movie. One, and I wrote it down because I wasn't going to forget this. This movie is based on a book. It is called the same way, Uglies, and it is by Scott Westerfeld. That I cannot pronounce it properly, and it is from 2005, the books. So almost 20 years later, I think, something like that, is that they adapted the book to a movie. It has the same, from what I saw little by little, it has the same premise as the book, the movie. Yeah, I haven't heard at all about the book, I haven't read it, so I'm not gonna be able to compare the book with the movie. I'm not gonna be able to do that. So everything that I'm gonna be talking about is the movie and my opinions about the movie. I cannot make the comparison because I have never read or even heard about this book until now. But if anybody has read it, it's your favorite or whatever, and you want to go into the comments and let me know if the movie is exactly like the book, or if they changed things, or if they took things out, you're more than welcome to do that, because I really want to know. I have never read it. So another thing is that I found while I was looking information about the whole book and all of that, is there was one thing specifically that I found that I don't remember being explained or even shown in the movie. There was probably one clip, but it was never explained properly, I think. So I'm just gonna say it because I don't remember seeing it in the movie, but just in case. But something I read was that children in the book are called littles, and they live with their parents until they're 12 years old, and then the parents take them to boarding school, which is where Tally is, which is the main character, where she is at the beginning and all of that, and the movie, and they call that place Uglyville. And it is where all the uglies are until they are 16 years old, and they get the surgery to be pretty and all of that. So that whole explanation about the child, I didn't fully see it in the movie. There is a part where we see the parents of Tally leaving her in this boarding school, but I don't think they fully explained it either. So I'm just throwing it out there just in case, because this movie starts straight with Tally in boarding school and done, and she being close to being 16 years old. They first, as always, tell you the whole story of how everybody got here and being divided between pretties and uglies and all of that. So I'll be reading a lot of this because there's words here that I don't fully understand, and I just wrote it exactly how they were explaining it, honestly, because I feel that's the best way for you to understand it. But the movie starts with telling us what happened in Earth and civilization in the past. Essentially, they were saying that 100 years ago, people were exploiting natural resources from Earth, essentially, and that created chaos. These people that were doing that, they were called Rusties. Names here are very weird, but they were called Rusties. They got the best scientists, and the scientists were tasked to save whatever little civilization was left in Earth, and they came with a renewable power source. It looks like a flower. I'll put a picture, hopefully I can find it, but it is like a white flower that is supposed to be a power source, but that didn't solve the problem about the civilization, and they kept fighting, creating clans, civilization into countries and all of that, so to prevent from sharing, essentially. So the solution that they created was transformation. Essentially, at 16 years old, the child was going to go through a surgery to make them perfect, because in their opinion, perfect makes the problems go away. And to these people, they call pretty, and they live in a whole different part of, they call the city, and it's very bright and just lots of parties going around. And then the ones that are not still 16 are in that boarding school that they call Uglies, and they stay there until they are 16. That's kind of the story. I'm guessing the book explains that as well, probably in more detail, but the movie gives you that explanation. That's where we meet Tally and Paris. They are best friends. They go to the roof and they're talking because Paris is already 16 and he's going to graduate and get the surgery. So they have the surgery thingy, no, sorry, they have the graduation thingy. Paris leaves. He and Tally promise each other to always remember each other, come and look for each other, and always be on contact and stuff like that. Tally stays alone for a couple of months already, because she only has a couple of months before being 16, and she realized that Paris had never visited her since he went and got the surgery. So what does? She goes to the city. She puts this mask on that people cannot recognize her, and she's dressed very pretty, and she goes on top of this building, and that's when we see Paris for the first time being pretty. She does take the mask off, and he sort of recognizes her in a way, and she's like, hey, I just came to see you because you haven't seen me. And he's like, oh yeah, because I'm here, but you wouldn't understand what is happening here because you're still an ugly, so when you get the surgery you will understand. And Tally's like, what? Either way, she gets discovered by cameras. There was a scan, I'm guessing, that security did, that made them realize she shouldn't be there. She's able to get out, but then she gets trapped in a bridge, and that's where we meet Shay. She saves Tally from the security ships things that surround the whole school in a board that flies. So she and Shay does become best friends very quickly, because Shay is teaching her how to fly that board. So there is this place that is supposed to be a myth, that of course it isn't, we can all guess that it isn't, and they call it the Smoke. It is a place where uglies go that run away from the surgery, and they don't want the surgery, and they're accepted there how they are. They decide to age the way they have to age and all that, and don't get any of the surgery. And Shy tries to take Tally to this place. They get into this abandoned building, and Shy tells her, David is gonna come here and I want you to come with me. And Tally's like, no, like, this is a myth, this is not true. And Shy's like, it is. She ends up giving Tally this map thingy that only her will understand, and Tally leaves because she's like, this is not true. I'm gonna be 16, I'm gonna get the surgery, I'm gonna be with Paris, and everything's gonna be great. Her brain, she's already brainwashed throughout the whole thing. So when it comes to the day of Tally's surgery, she gets to talk to Dr. Cable. This person works for the government, is special circumstances, something like that department, essentially. This person was like, hey, we cannot find Shay. Where is she? Because we know you and her were always together. And Tally's like, I don't know. She doesn't say anything. So they back up from the surgery, and they made her go back to boarding school. And they sent Paris to go talk to her, to be like, hey, you need to tell them because Shay needs the surgery and all of that. So when Tally goes back to Dr. Cable, she tells this person everything. Absolutely everything. So what do? they decide to use Tally to find the smoke. They give her this necklace that is supposed to be a tracker thingy that when she hits or she presses, it sends a signal to where she is so they can find the smoke, because apparently Dr. Cable tells her that the smoke has a bomb that they want to use against them and kill them all. So Tally uses the whole map thingy that Shay gave her. She's able to get to this very big camp thingy, and she meets David there, and they don't take her to the smoke, they take her to a place that is close to smoke, that they put people there until they are able to not think about the surgery or be themselves or stuff like that, clean their brain for all the brainwashing thing that they have had, essentially. Yeah, so after this I feel like we have like 30 minutes of the movie of just Tally and David doing cute romantic things, or at least what they think is romantic and cute. Exchanging gloves, and Shai being like, oh my god, you don't understand. Him giving you these gloves means something else here and something like that. And I'm like, okay, this took a turn. Literally was like 30 minutes of just them flirting. I don't mind that if you want to build romance. But it was done in the wrong way. We'll talk about it later. But there were like 30 minutes of that. Subtract 30 minutes from the movie because it's just romantic thing. They do tell Tally that the flower thing that is supposed to be the resource power thingy is not true. It is actually poison, I think it is, something like that. But they do show her this, and this is like the first thing that she sees that is like, oh, okay, so they have been lying about this to us. Okay, that's like the first thing that she sees. At some point after the whole romantic stuff that was happening, Tally decides to tell David for some reason that they told Dr. Cable told her that the smoke had a bomb, and she wanted to know if that's true. Stupid decisions were made, but she said it. And of course David, being all in love in just 30 minutes of being with her, he decides to take her to his parents, which again, apparently doing that makes something just more intense, because literally when he takes Sally there, the parents are like, oh, this is the first time, oh, okay, go in. So you can tell him taking her there means something very powerful. But he wants her to know the truth about everything. So that's what the parents do. They are called Maddie and AC. That's his name. I'm gonna butcher his name. Okay, so that's how his parents are called. So essentially what they tell her is I'm getting heated by this movie, I swear. I'm like hot. I feel like I need the fan for this, but I can't. What they tell her is, hey, we were scientists that were working in that place, and they realized that the surgery wasn't safe. There were people that were dying from it, have lesions in their brain that made them not act like themselves, and there were even other surgeries that they were performing to people to make them a soldier, and that is something that they did with Paris, but we'll talk about it in a second. And they used that surgery when the person started to show signs of their past selves, because the whole surgery is to control that person and you forgetting about everything when you were ugly, essentially. And because of this, they were trying to find a cure for it, but they shut down everything, they took everything, and they decided to run away, don't get the surgery, or reverse the surgery, something like that, so they can age the way that they have to age. They created the smoke. David leaders the smoke and everybody, and they are working on the cure again. The problem that they have is that they need this synthetic serum thingy that they cannot find anywhere, that can only be found in that place, pretty thingy that they use to make the surgeries to people and all of that. That's why they haven't been able to finish the cure, and also they need to find people to test them on, and they don't want to force people to do that either, the same way that the government is doing. They want to test it on people that actually want to be ugly again. So that's another thing that they are fighting. So of course Tally is very surprised by all of this, because this is not the story that she has been told the whole time that she has been in boarding school. What happens? She gets very mad. She throws the necklace on the fire, too late, because doing that still activates the necklace. So what happens in the morning? Dr. Cable and everybody soldier wise gets there, and that's the first time that we see Paris as a soldier. He got the second surgery essentially when he went to visit Tali at the beginning, and he went back. He was saying Dr. Cable, like, hey, it felt great seeing her. I liked it. I wish I could keep seeing her and all of that. So they made him go to another surgery to be more pretty. Now it's just to make him a soldier. Now he's completely in control. They're completely in control of him. And this is also the first time that David knows that Tali was working in a way with Dr. Cable and finding the smoke. And she's trying to explain herself, like, hey, yes, I did, but I threw the necklace off because I believe you, but I didn't think it was going to activate it, and blah, blah, blah. His father, as AC, dies. Essentially, they kill him. Maddie decides to put the serum thingy that they have on David's jacket so they don't get their hands on, and he and Tali are able to run away, and the rest, the people that are in the camp, including Maddie and Shai and everybody, are taken to the building where the surgeries and all of that, hospital, however you want to call it. David is angry at Tali, and she's trying to be like, hey, like, I didn't know this and that, and he's like, I'm gonna save everybody, and she's like, let me help you. He doesn't want to, but like she said to him, I know that building in the back of my hand. You won't be able to survive there. So he does let her help. They're able to get in the building. They're able to rescue everybody except Shai. She does end up getting the surgery. Essentially, when they go to find her, they already made the surgery on her. She's pretty now. She's like, yeah, they did me first because I was fighting. I almost took the eye off of people, so they just did it first. Can you see I'm very pretty? That she's already pretty. She's already, like, she's gone. They try to make Tali, David, and Maddie get through the surgery, but the people from the smoke are able to save them, essentially, and Maddie is able to take the serum that they need because they were in the place where they made the surgery, and casually the serum is there, so she takes it with her, and they're all able to get out of there. They basically blow that place up. I feel like that's what they did. So they're able to get back to the abandoned building that we saw at the beginning when Shai takes Tali. Maddie has to finish the cure, of course, but still the problem of who's gonna be the test subject, because at first they're like Shai, but Maddie's like, no, I cannot force her. We don't want to force people to become ugly again. Like, we don't want to do that. We don't want to be like them. It needs to be somebody that is willing to do it. So of course Tali is the one. She's like, I'm gonna do it, and everybody's like, what? No. And she's like, yeah, they're gonna capture me, I'm gonna get the surgery, and you guys will come for me, save me, and just to cure me. I'm not gonna lose myself, it's totally fine. And she looks at David and she's like, if you do come and find me, I will take as a sign that you have forgiven me for everything. And I'm here like, you have only known him for what, 3-4 days? What the hell are you talking about, girl? Okay, fine. So they do take Tali. She does get through the surgery. Now there is this scar. I didn't mention it because, but there's this scar that she and Paris had. Now Paris doesn't have it anymore. Also, Paris dies. At least I think he dies because he falls off the balcony of the building. So I'm guessing he's dead. Who knows? But I'm just guessing he's dead. But whatever. The point is, she has this scar. So when they perform the surgery on her, we see her looking out the window and seeing that scar still on her hand, symbolizing that she's still herself, just pretty, and she was strong enough to survive the surgery and still be herself, and she's just acting this way until they save her. And that's how it ends. It ends with her looking out the window, just waiting for them to finish the cure and come and get her if David forgives her. That's how it ends. Did it feel like I was giving you whiplash? Yes? Don't worry, because that's what the movie did to me as well. Okay, so like I said, this movie didn't do great in Netflix, in my opinion, honestly. So there's this page called Rotten Tomatoes that a lot of people uses to see how the movie does and all of that, and Uglies has 16% tomato meter, and 43% popcorn meter. That is not good, honestly, and a lot of screen recording this to see if I can show you, but critics are going hard at it. Somebody here says, even if Ugly was watchable, its tropes have been worn down to nubs and its themes run dry. It says should have stayed on the page. If you're a fan of Hunger Games franchise, you will love Uglies. The lack of immersive world building in Uglies prevents the viewer from fully identifying with any relatable socially issues. That is very true. They barely show you the world. Like, they don't give you enough time to connect with any of the characters at all. They don't give you enough time. You think, but no. It's just, it takes forever. And audience reviews is the same. Haven't read the book, but this movie was like a college kid project. Acting is bad. The plot was very childish, not depth at all, very primitive. I finally gave this movie a good. I really like Lauren Cross and Joey King, so they are the reason I watched it. So this person kind of liked it. He gave it 5 out of 5. This one is 1 out of 5. Disappointing. Despite it being a well-made film with good cast, it's really very hard to suspend disbelief at any point in this movie. This person not even close to the book. Very disappointing. Okay, so people were not liking this essentially. Now, I want to talk about the book in a second because, like I said, I haven't read the book or anything like that. So if I go to Wikipedia, which is not the greatest place for information, but it's the best one that I could find essentially. Basically says that Uglies is set in a futuristic post-scarcity world in which everyone is considered an ugly until they're turned pretty by extreme cosmetic surgery when they reach the age of 16. It tells the story of a teenager, Tally Youngblood, who rebels against society and forms conformity after her friends Shay and Davy show her the downsides of becoming pretty. Something that I also found here is that the book is the first installment in what was originally a trilogy, the Ugly series, which also includes the books Pretty, Specials, and Extra. And then in 2018, 4 new installments were announced, collectively titled the Impostors series. Essentially, there's like 3 more books in this. You have Pretties, you have Specials, and then you have Extras. So I'm not even gonna go into what those other 3 books mean, but just know that there's 3 more books. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's more movies done about this. Now, I don't honestly know if they're gonna do any other sequel for this. I mean, there's more books, so I'm guessing the point is to keep going and do all the books. But with how bad this one was received, and 2, it's been a bit and they haven't said anything, it's not good. Because usually when something does very good, Netflix immediately is like, there's gonna be a sequel, there's gonna be a season 2, something like that. It hasn't happened with Uglies. I think they know this one didn't do the greatest, or at least how they thought it was going to do. So yeah, it did get to top 10 movies, I think, on Netflix. I also think it fell down very quickly from that top 10. But no announcement has been done if they do a sequel of this or not. There's 3 more books, so it wouldn't surprise me, but still it would surprise me because this movie didn't do the greatest either. Again, I haven't read the book, not able to compare it, but the movie had potential. It just feels very childish. You can barely connect with characters because everything happens like this, and 3, you barely get to know the world. Like, if I read something like that, I want to be able to experience the whole world, and I understand that might not be possible in a movie, but it gives me something to work with. They don't do that. It's like, here you go, 30 minutes of romance that doesn't make any sense because they have only known each other for like days, probably weeks. If anybody has read the book, please let me know if it is like this movie, or if it is accurate, or if there's stuff that was left out. Because I'm guessing in the book you can, you know, go into more details and stuff. In a movie you're kind of compressed into 2 hours, 2 hours and a half maybe. But still, I barely connected with everybody. And then when they tried to treat more like serious topics, it didn't feel like it. It's like I understand the whole message is be yourself, not having to let people tell you what you are and everything like that. I understand, but it's not communicated well in the movie, in my opinion. Not the greatest. They try to make the romantic thing, they try to make it work, the romantic thing between David and Sally, but again, there is not enough time for them to connect. Maybe more stuff happens, and what it is supposed to be weeks or months in a book here was put in like 30 minutes, but it's not enough for me to be like, oh, they love each other. I think it would have been better in a way if instead of already making them be in love with each other or something like that, if they started as close friends in this first movie. Kept them as close friends. I mean, again, I don't know if in the book they love each other, but I think it would have been better in the movie if they kept them being like close friends. A little bit of romance here and there, but more close friends. And then probably in the next movie, if there is another one, then make the romance work a bit more. But like 30 minutes is not enough. Now maybe those 30 minutes in the book is like a couple of months, but still it's not enough in my opinion for me to like be like, oh my god, they love each other, yes. And yeah, just the whole thing felt rushed. Again, I maybe the book is better. Anybody, please tell me. I just couldn't connect with anything. And then the ending, it is an open ending, okay? So they definitely are planning to do the movies for the other books for sure. Still, if it doesn't happen, the viewer just ends with this and done. So at least what I would have done, just in case the movie doesn't do well and the people can have sort of an ending, is when she's looking at the window, there is some kind of smoke in the sky that can kind of symbolize that they are there already and they're ready to come and get her and give her the cure and all of this. And then it ends with a shot of her smiling and all of that. And yes, it would have been an open ending and that would be perfect, because people would just start being like, okay, let's see, and they start making their own endings, just in case you cannot make a sequel because the movie didn't do good. I'm pretty sure they're going to do the other movies. It wouldn't surprise me if they did. I mean, if this movie didn't do great, they're probably going to try and make it work with the second, third, fourth, I don't even know, because there's 4 books essentially. It wouldn't surprise me if they try to do that, but if they don't, then we get stuck with this ending of her just looking in the sky and done. I feel like there was something, maybe there's something, I didn't see it, but again, I feel like if there was some kind of smoke or something on the sky that would let us, the viewer, be like, oh my god, they're there, and then it points to her smiling and poof, done, then I will be like, oh my god, it just ended like that. So that means they save her, and I could make my own conclusions just in case there's another movie or not. So again, the movie is not horrible, but the way that it's done, it just feels very childish, very rushed, and I couldn't connect with anybody at all in this movie, and it was very hard to watch as well. So if anybody out there has seen this movie, let me know what your opinions are on it. If you have read the book, please let me know how the movie connects with the book, and if it makes sense, let me know, because I haven't read it and I'm very curious about it, and I'll be looking to see what people are saying, but let me in the comments below. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing great, and I'm gonna see y'all on the next one. Bye bye.